Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with another vlog for world history. This is Shaping Eastern Europe. I do know that the chapter number may not correspond to the chapter number that we are actually on, but the information is exactly the same. So, as always, please make sure you're writing notes, you're following along, and you're paying attention because there will be a vlog question at the end of this quick vlog. As always, please make sure you sit back, relax, and you learn a few things. And this is Shaping Eastern Europe. So, when we talk about Eastern Europe, the very first thing we got to understand is its geography and where it's located. So, if you remember the Byzantine Empire, it was more concentrated in this area during Justinian, and further over into Italy and Western Europe, and a little bit more down over into this area into where Persia and the Muslim Empire were. Later, when the Turks invade, it all starts falling apart. And what we get is this geography that kind of looks like this. And to the north, we have the Baltic Sea. We have a plain in central Poland and Hungary. So right over here, we've got a really big flat plain. We have a mountainous Balkan Peninsula. That's over here. It's very mountainous and kind of rocky. And we have two main rivers, the Danube and the Vistula. Vistula? I don't know. That's hard for me to say. So, when we talk about Eastern Europe, we need to know about that migration contributes to its diversity. Because of all of its geographic region, they had a whole bunch of different cultures that were fighting for domination of the region. And the Balkans would be populated by many different ethnic groups. So let's go back to the geography real quick. So if you look, we've got over here, we have the Franks, we've got the Romans, we have the Byzantines, the Turks, the Russians, we have the Mongols over here, we've got the Slavs who live in this area. Further south, we've got over here, we've got Persia. Down here, we've got the Muslim Empire. In North Africa, we've got whatever's left over of Carthage. So when we've got all of these areas right here, and because of all the trade routes that are in this area, people coming in and out all the time from all these various places. So, of course, it's going to increase diversity and increase the number of information and different ideas that will spread through that region. So, first major influence we can talk about is Christianity and Islam. And what happens is they get Christianity from the Byzantine Empire and Islam from the Ottoman Empire. And they kind of mush and go in and out of each other at this time. And remember, we're talking about Eastern Orthodox Christianity, not Western Roman Catholicism. And the Protestants, they aren't even here yet. So don't worry too much about them. From there, we also get a whole bunch of Jewish settlers migrate from Western Europe to Poland because of these things called pogroms. Make sure you write down this idea. A pogrom is when Jewish community are forced either to flee, kill, or to be killed, tortured, imprisoned, forced conversion, or when they are required to leave or live into a ghetto. And yes, the term ghetto actually occurs in earlier, and they meant poor areas where mostly Jews or Christians lived, depending on which empire you're talking about. And because at this time the Byzantines were Christians, it was the Jews who lived in the ghettos. They moved from Spain to Poland because of the Inquisition. So later, when we get into more of the Dark Ages and the late Middle Ages, we're going to talk about the Spanish Inquisition and how more or less they tortured and killed anyone who was not Catholic. So people started running from over there. And because of all the pogroms in Poland, they also start going south. And in 1264, Prince Boleslav of Krakow, or Poland, issues a charter protecting the Jews in Poland. And because he actually said, hey, come here, I will protect you, make sure that no one else destroys and kills you, a large Jewish communities develop in Poland. And if you know your history in World War II, a large minority of Jews lived in Poland. So when Hitler invaded, the Holocaust did occur. So we'll talk about that later in this course. We get three major kingdoms developing. We have Poland, which is in their golden age, was in 1386 with the marriage of Duke Juglio, and Queen Jadwiga, to make Poland Lithuania. So what happens is Poland is actually just right here, and Lithuania is this huge thing, so they actually combine. So what happens is, after these two get married, they concentrate their power. And then later, after their power is concentrated and they died, slowly but surely the power goes back to from the monarch or the guy on charge to the nobles or the people underneath him. And they end up meeting what they call the diet or a diet, or assembly, where one no vote could block the law. So it's a lot like the Articles of Confederation, if you remember your U.S. history, where one state or one person can say no and it cannot be passed. So this does make a very weak state. From there, in 1683, we get kings. I'm so sorry because I know I'm going to mispronounce this because I don't know Polish. Jan Sobieski breaks the Ottoman siege of Vienna. So the Ottomans start attacking into Eastern Europe to try to take more land. They're trying to spread Islam and Islamic values. And what he does is he stops them at Vienna. So that's why Eastern Europe has such a mixture. Is because instead of most of it being Muslim or most of them being Jewish or most of them being Christian, because of how he stopped the Ottomans from invading, the Ottomans were like, maybe we shouldn't invade Europe anymore, and they kind of back off for a little bit. So this actually ends up being the last hurrah, and soon Poland and Lithuania would disappear from the map and wouldn't reappear until after World War I, and then be reinvaded and then disappear and then come back. Poor Poland. They kind of had a kind of sad history. Then we get the Magyars to start ruling Hungary. They adopt Roman Catholicism. We're going to talk about that in class. And they had this thing called the Golden Bull of 1222, which strictly reduces the monarch's power. So this was kind of like the Magna Carta in England, which we'll go over later. And if you remember your civics from it's a way to reduce the power of the monarchs and give more power to the nobles. And in 1241, the Mongols actually overrun Hungary, but leave after killing about half the population. And one thing we got to know about the Mongols is that they kind of came in and said, you have two options. You surrender your city or we destroy it. So, yeah, when they decide not to surrender, the Mongols will just invade and burn everything to the ground. We'll go over the Mongols later. So we get the Serbs established a Balkan kingdom. So right where Greece used to be, ancient Greece was located and part of the Byzantine Empire, we get the Balkan Peninsula. We get a Balkan kingdom. It was situated on the Balkan Peninsula because it is surrounded by three sides of water. 1, 2, and 3. In the late 800s, it becomes an Orthodox Christian church, which is at this time centered, if I'm correct, up here in Moscovia. And it also encouraged the increase of the Byzantine culture. Their main person that you know is a guy named Stefan Dusan. He was ruler from 1308 to 1355. A little bit more about him. He adopts Justinian's code, and he actually takes the Byzantine Empire's land. So he actually starts expanding his tiny kingdom and starts invading and taking over more place. But in 1389, the Serbs are destroyed at the Battle of Kosovo, and it kind of just disappears from there. That's the end of this short presentation. Today's question. Make sure you post it in the proper place in the doobly-doo. Over there, I think this time. And here's your question. What had more effect on Eastern Europe? Geography, religion, wars, or the surrounding empires? Please explain your thoughts and your answers. So use textual-based evidence, use evidence from my discussion, or even go online and find more evidence to make your answer the best it can be. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.